concept of Chris, that the 100 million of year one, by year two, three, is again coming back.
Right.
And then it has some little element of interest to cater for administration and so on. So it's building. Do you realize actually what this means? That in every parish, within the next 5 years, we should be able to assist or address 500 homesteads.
Per parish?
Per parish.
Right.
That is, now what are we targeting? We're targeting 39% of our households. Make it 40% of our households. 40 out of 100. If I've told you that we have 8.5, you're talking of about 3 million. But you're looking at, in 5 years, 500 per household, per parish.
Per parish.
At a minimum, because it's revolving.
Correct.
This is great. This is massive.
Right.
The only challenge will come through leakages. And it's good that we address it from the beginning. And it's good that the people of Uganda know that this is your money. Don't look at it as now, this is Museveni's money, it will go. No, it is yours. The parish can actually move, or it can actually fail. And you'll see them.
It's up to you. The power is now literally in your hands.
You will see these parishes based on the level of leadership, based on the amount of conceptualization, mindset exchange, cooperation within the parish, the enterprise groups, because it's not something we've talked about yet, that an enterprise is banana planting and coffee, enterprise called zero grazing.
Right.
So the 10 or 20 of you or 30 of you doing bananas, that's an enterprise group. You meet together, you select your leaders as a group, 3 of you. They go and meet with the 3 from coffee, the 3 from tea, the 3 from where, and those 3 are the ones who sit and select leaders of the circle. Right. Now, this enterprise group keeps checking on you because they want to benefit as well. Now, we're targeting the 40%, but my estimation is we could, if we become serious, hit this percentage within the next 3 years.
Right.
If we become serious in terms of saying, this is for us, this is for the youth, this is for the women. The men, we are also there. Because somewhere between the youth 30, 35 and the elderly also have 10%, 60 years. There is a group in between there. We've given them 20%. So everybody is there. The impact could be very big. And don't look at, they're giving me 1 million. Put it in coffee. A plantlet, a seedling of coffee is maybe about, is it 200, 300? Buy 100 or 200 of them. You are not yet even hitting 200,000. No. The rest you may need some fertilizers, you may need to do some irrigation during the dry season. Give this young person 2 years, you'll find a different person altogether.
And like we said, you are your own labor, so you really, if you work hard enough...
Yeah, you are neighbor, you are your labor, you are your manager. So, I think really the president has shot it right, very much right.
You know, the Christians, I'm sure, know the story of the talents in the Bible.
The parable of the talents.
The parable of the talents, which was narrated by Jesus, where people were given different talents. Some decided to multiply them, others decided to keep them without multiplication. I think the major question our people should ask themselves at the parish level is that what kind of parish do we need? What quality of life do we need to see in our parish? And like we have asked, 10,000 shillings, if you gave it to an individual, depending on how somebody uses that, somebody can go and buy alcohol and drink and get drunk, even dies. Somebody can decide to invest it, maybe buy some few chicks, and after 2, 3, 5 months, a year, the story can be different.
Right.
So injecting this money into a parish, if our people get serious and know what to invest in, what can actually give them a profit, after a period of 2, 3, 4 years, the story will be very different for the better. The reason why we are encouraging and mobilizing people to form a circle means credit and savings. Credit meaning you have a platform where you can access money to help you do what you want to do, but also you should save. And one message we give to our people is that we should learn a saving culture. A saving culture. At times we become wasteful, like our young people now listening to us. If a young person was given 50,000 shillings today, where would he or she take that 50,000? Many of them would buy MBs to be on social media. Maybe another one would buy some poultry, some chicks to rear. Maybe another one will buy fertilizer for his garden of tomatoes and so forth. Now, depending on where you take that little money you have got, it can define the fortunes ahead.
Yeah.
So what we are encouraging our people to do is that let's have that saving culture. Whatever little money we get, we weigh where to invest this money. It's one of the challenges that we do face in this country, that people don't have that saving culture, and we want to inculcate it among our young people through this PDM, that once government has brought this resource, please invest it wisely so it can have a multiplier effect.
Right.
And through that way, we should be able to improve the lives of our people. Yes.
And it's an issue, Honorable Majesi, that must be tackled, because we seem, especially amongst the younger generation, to have picked up this very bad habit of consumerism, where we seek instant gratification,
Failing to save.
as opposed to thinking long term. When you hear Honorable Barimusi talk about this, we tend to think that 50,000 shillings is very little money. And yet, depending on what you do with it, you just mentioned the idea of coffee seedlings. If you are sitting somewhere in Kashari, in my village, and your father left, even if it's an acre of land, with 50,000 shillings, if you put your mind to it and get, that would be about 20 coffee plants.
Yes. I've given you the calculation, but
The 20 coffee plants in 4 or 5 years' time
It
basically
will-
takes you out of
takes
poverty.
you out of poverty. I want to give credit to my district woman member of parliament of Bushenyi. She's Annette Katusime. She came up with a program of boxes, looking at that concept of saving, a culture of saving. And it's 30 people. You come together on a weekly basis, just put in your 1,000 shillings.
1,000.
Just 1,000. She gave some little support, maybe 200,000, 300,000. You go back 2-3 years later, guys are developing and they're getting big savings. It does work. And even the little piece of land, because that is the concept of the parish model, that if we do not change our mindset to say, I have only 4 acres, therefore I cannot go to do what somebody with 20 acres is doing. You keep 20 animals on only 2 acres, you will not manage. You start grazing from the neighbors, and each cow is giving you half a liter of milk. How will you make it? So we're saying, with the little you have, if you can agree to save something,
Right.
you'll see it
And put it
accumulate.
together with
put
other
it
people.
together with the other people. And then if you have only half an acre, you can make a difference. If you have only 4 acres, you can make a difference. That is through intensive farming. You can do it intensively. But the one with big chunks of land, big monies, that's extensive. They go to the banks, they get their loans, they do open grazing and so on. So I think you are emphasizing something which our young people need to take note of. It's not the amount of money that you have, it is your
What
culture,
you do.
your idea,
Right.
what you form your mind to do. That even if I'm getting 10,000, let me take off 2,000. Look at these border associations. That's what they are doing. They say on a daily basis, each of you bring 2,000.
Because you have it.
Because you have it.
Right.
They are getting 20,000. They are getting 10,000. Now, if you think 2,000 is little, you just get the 2,000, multiply by 100 of them. And then do it per week, per month. Within 2-3 months, they buy another border board and give it to one of them.
Actually, I can tell you, I've just done the math on my phone, Honorable Majesi. If you're collecting 2,000 from 100 people over a month, you already have 6 million shillings.
That's a border.
6
If
million
not
shillings.
2. That's a border, if not 2.
From 2,000 shillings.
Now, if our women have done it, 30 of them come together in a village. They save, they lend each other, they monitor each other. Government is saying, what if we did this at a parish level?
Across the entire country.
Across the entire country, because there was that debate at the beginning. Should we pilot? Why don't you, Raphael, why are you talking of the entire country? Suppose it fails. Go to a few districts. Then the question was, whose life do you want to pilot with? And where do we start? Do we start with mine or we leave yours? What do you want us to do? So we
very
agreed.
powerful thinking, because you're talking about people's actual lives here.
You're not going to pilot with people's lives. It can be very, very disastrous, especially in politics.
Correct.
You take my village, you leave his. They see my village actually moving.
And then
wait a bit.
Yeah.
So, as I said, yes, some parishes will drag behind a little because of leadership, because of disbelief.
Right.
Even as we speak now, you may find somebody saying, we
are used.
They are speaking.
But it's a good thing, isn't it? Because if the parishes are able to see others thriving and know that this thing works, it then puts them under pressure to say, hey, we need to wake up and actually do something about this ourselves.
So the test will be on the initial beneficiaries.
Right.
You'll be really the model. We want to test and see. Suppose we give you 1 million shillings and you have 2 acres of land. What does it mean to your family?
Right.
Number 1, food security. Part of the land should be used to grow something to feed the home. But number 2, we want to move you from simply working to feed to working to get some money.
And grow.
Grow, make a surplus, take to the market, make some money.
Right.
We shall also be talking about value addition, adding value to what you are producing, so that instead of selling maize seeds, you sell flour. But that's at another level. You first increase your production.
So already, as you can see, our time is almost up, and there's yet still so much to unpack, which is, I guess, the whole point of why we're having these discussions. And before I take a couple of questions that we're getting from Twitter for the both of you, I'll just ask to come to you, Honorable Barimusi, in terms of where now you become very important, because like Honorable Majez is saying, these are things that are mostly about mindset change more than anything else. My late father used to tell people, the men especially in my village, that they are not poor, it's their minds that were poor. It's something that he drummed into their heads until eventually he managed to get through to them, and they formed a dairy cooperative that eventually ended up thriving in a sense. How important does it become for, especially, my focus is especially on the people who are following us on this discussion today, on UBC and on Twitter, because they don't speak a lot of English. How important is it for them to understand the potential of the numbers that Honorable Majezi has just split for us, and why it's important for them to be able to go and then put any differences aside, going down to the smallest person and say, you know what, if we give this thing our support, it can actually catapult Uganda to another level in the next 4 or 5 years?
Yes, many people would say, like we have said, that people lack capital. But the word capital comes from a Latin word, caput, which means the head. So when you say lack capital, you are as well saying I am lacking up here. So, and also the English say that having a plan without money to implement it is the same as having money without a plan.
Correct.
So this PDM challenges all of us, that wherever you sit, you should appreciate that you can do something to improve your life. Whether you are an old person, or more importantly, the young people out there, that yes, whether you are in Chisoro, or Yumbe, or Karamoja, in whatever situation you are in, you can do something to improve the situation. And what the government is doing is to provide that conducive environment to enable you push ahead. And this program is not partisan. It is not targeting those who support NRM or those who are in opposition. It is targeting all Ugandans. Because even when this is NRM government, we don't want anybody to remain poor in this country, including our young people, particularly those who are out of school.
Right.
There. So let's have that positive mind that this program is intended to liberate us from poverty, because like we have been saying in this show, that we have Ugandans who just survive on what they grow in their gardens and they just consume it.
Yeah.
But if you say, give me 10,000, give me 5,000, maybe from 1st January to 31st and Feb and March, a person can't even have 10,000 in his or her pocket.
Correct.
I know that the people we are targeting, we are saying, no, God created this world and said we should subdue it, we should create dominion over it, so we should be able to enjoy the life that we have. And therefore, whether you have half an acre of land or only 1 acre, we are saying you can be helped, you can be supported to use whatever resource you have to get to a better situation.
Right.
And the government is there to help you. The experts should be able to help you to say, this kind of soil, this acre that you have in a particular area, if you invested in this kind of enterprise, after 6 months, after 1 year, you can get many more profits than if you do ABCD. So this parish development model, apart from the financial resources we are sending to the communities, but also has other elements of educating the people, sensitizing them, changing the mindset, and enabling them to be included in all these programs and moving together as a parish.
Yeah.
So that at the end of the day, we should see all our communities much better. And through this PDM, when you sit, you will be able also to look at the other services. You say, maybe we have a major challenge of no roads where we can push our produce to reach the markets. Then the government will be there to help the roads. Maybe our problem is sickness, our health center needs. So apart from, or in addition to the financial resources, the communities now will be able to look at the other services, and then the government is there to make sure that all those bottlenecks, all those challenges are addressed.
Yeah.
So do not say this is NRM government, I don't believe in NRM. Oh, no, this is not a partisan
At the end of the day,
program.
we all need to be able to thrive regardless of your political affiliation.
Whether you are NRM or opposition, you need your children to get food. You also need money. Whether you are which religion or which tribe, this program is targeting all the people, particularly those who are in the lower sections of the economic ladder, for them to get lifted up. And we have the resolve and determination as a government to do everything possible to lift the people out of poverty.
And we are depending on you to do that. And that's why we are saying that this is what makes us proud to be Ugandan. And so we are saying, I am Ugandan.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what my affiliations are from, whatever sphere. It's about the fact that I'm a Ugandan.
And you should walk with your head very high because you are Ugandan.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yes.
You've traveled a bit, so it's only when you travel quite a lot that you realize how special it is to be from this country. It's something that I keep telling people.
Absolutely.
So it's only when you go other places that you realize how special our little country actually is. Let me take some questions for the both of you before we wrap up. Some of them have been answered already, but just in case someone might have joined us a bit late, we'll just go through them very quickly for their benefit. This is from someone called Honeyman on Twitter. You're asking about how data collected will be kept, because that becomes an important thing. I think you mentioned the UBOS report and how important this can become in being able to actually gather information to help for the future. If you allow me, I'll go through all the questions and you can pick which ones you think you can be able to deal with. This one is coming in from you. Wetungu Richard is asking who are the target beneficiaries of PDM, and this has been taken care of, but we'll just go through that again just as a recap for you. How will the subsistence households be identified? And again, something that's been handled, but we'll just go through that again. This one is asking, won't PDM follow the same footsteps as Youth Livelihood, NADS, and OWC? Again, this was a very, very first thing we talked about when we started the chat, so I can assure you it's been dealt with, but we'll just touch on that just a little bit. There's an important question here, Honorable Majesty, about the process of circle formation at the parish and how that becomes an important thing. But also, is there an actual registration just for PDM, or does it have to be through SACCO? That, again, I know has been touched on, but it might be one to pick up on very importantly. And again, you can ask all these questions on the Twitter handles, and we've got people at the ministries who will be able to dig in and respond to all of them, but we have websites that you can go to, and that's the importance of having Twitter available now, that you can be able to get answers just like that. You mentioned, I'll finish with this question, about the fact that we are premising this on the notion that 39% of those that are not in the formal market are the ones that we are looking at with this 100 million shillings per parish. What happens to those that might not necessarily be interested in the specific sectors that the government is targeting? And I think the question here is, in a sense, are we targeting very specific sectors for investment with PDM, or is it open to anyone who wants to do anything that they want to do? And finally, this person says, does PDM take into account the political happenings outside Uganda that can affect our national pass? Obviously, the war in Russia and Ukraine, we know, has had a huge impact on us with wheat and us having to eat cassava now because of that. So again, it's not something that you can look at in isolation. It does affect us, and so how does this affect the implementation of PDM? So I'll start with you, Honorable Majezi. You can pick up on the things that you might have heard, and then we'll finish with Honorable Barimunsi.
Thank you very much. Those are very good questions. The process of circle formation and identification of the beneficiaries, and the 39% we're talking about. Who are the 39%? The 39% are households. We're targeting a household. The household is a homestead. Me, Majezi, and my wife and children, who are simply producing what they consume without a surplus to go to the market to earn some money. And the objective of the parish model is to transit this household so that they produce enough indeed for their food security and sustainability, but also so that the lady or the man goes to the market, sells some products and gains some money. We're also looking at value addition in terms of, if you've been selling you've been selling maize, seeds, maybe you as an individual, as a group, you could transit to selling flour, because that becomes a product which fetches more money. How do we get them? Right now, our staff of UBOS and ICT are out collecting data at the household level. They're looking at who you are. They'll even take your pictures. They're looking at your homestead. They're looking at your incomes. They're looking at your economic activities. They're looking at the sanitation and all that. And they'll be able to say, within these parameters, Raphael Majezi, really in terms of his level of income and activities, this is where he is. But there is also community assessment. The people know you. You cannot hide. They will tell you, no, this man, today he looks like this, but if you give him money, the likelihood is that he's going to marry another wife. All this man is going to pay debts. So people know each other. That is a basic understanding under the parish model. Now, these are the targeted people. The data is collected by the parish chief, assisted by the village chairperson and so on, the VHTs, and they are there. They collect the data. We shall, at a future time, assist the parish chief to have a basic tablet. But now they may be using questionnaires and so on. But later we shall store them in our tablets, process the data, and send it upwards, and use it even at the parish to draw the parish development plan. Part of the profiling going on now in terms of data collection is to be able to tell a parish, do they have water? Do they have the roads? Do they have education? Is there a primary school in this parish? Do they have health units, and so on? So that, as Chris said, the parish model is more than just giving you the money. The parish model looks at the entire person. So we look at the nature of the roads, community access roads, that can be used to evacuate what you have produced under the parish model. We look at the level of education, we look at health services, we're looking at even your homestead. We want to improve our housing, want to improve our sanitation and hygiene. So all these will come together, but the priority, the beginning is, how are you surviving? What are you earning? You, as Raphael Majezi.
Right.
I think for me, that is the key thing. How do you select this person? And as I explained earlier, it is the enterprise groups that sit together in the parish. These are the coffee farmers in the parish. They select their representatives to go to the meeting of circle leaders. They sit and select their leaders of the circle, and it's that group that will manage the fund. They appraise you. You apply to them, the circle. They appraise you, they vet you, they assess your activities and what you're going to do, the land and so on. They give you the money. They follow you to make sure that, one, you are using the money for what you asked, and two, you are able to pay back.
Right.
Yeah. So these questions of doubt, is it going to be like the other one, which I don't know what happened to the other ones, but it seems they have made an impact.
Right.
There is no program without a challenge. Even the parish model we prepared, there will be some challenges. I've already received reports, some CDOs out there, asking people to pay money for registration. For you to benefit under the parish model, you must first pay 40,000. We've given a caution to those CDOs, you will land in trouble.
Yeah.
The SACCO does not pay money for registration, because this is government to government. We're already paying that money.
On their behalf?
Yes, on their behalf.
Right.
The member who intends to apply to get some money does not have to pay subscription and membership fees. This is simply because you belong to an enterprise group which has selected its members on the circle, and therefore you Majez can apply and you get some funds.
Right.
So it's good to say, yes, there may be some challenges, but let's start from a point of hope.
Yeah. There's never been anything without challenges. It's about how you deal with them.
Even drinking a bottle of water has challenges, man. Opening it is another challenge. But for you to start from that negativity,
Yeah.
you will even fear to go there and apply.
And that's what we need to dispel, isn't it? The negativity is a bit too much.
It's not,
There's
it's
got to
not
be a
fair.
point where we start thinking about.
We've
how
taken
to go
our time.
forward.
We shall give you the documents.
Right.
There is a policy framework. There is implementation guidelines. We have all these manuals. Our staff are there. We are training the CDOs, the commercial officers, the political leaders. The ministers yesterday agreed. We ministers, we are going to sensitize the people in the parish model. And we shall start with the district leaders, the LOC5, the councillors, the LOC3 chairpersons, the RDCs, so that we all give the same message. I really want the parish model to have the same message. The members of parliament are already in their constituencies today because they are on recess. So we shall go and work with them so that we all mobilize the people together. The data collection is important because there is also a catch.
Yeah.
This thing of saying you take money for government, then you disappear, no. We want your identification, we want your picture, we want your thumbprints, we want everything about you. We want to know if we cannot trace you, whom do we ask?
There has to be accountability.
This is not money for...
Yes, in terms of data and information, we are actually building a robust parish development management information system. And like the Honourable Minister has said, right now, data collection is going on. We are profiling the communities and households to know in a particular parish how many households are there, what is their standing economically, what are their sources and levels of income, how many young people are there, what are they doing, how many young people are in the border, how many are in agriculture, how many are running commercial shops and so forth, to get that information. And as you know, the parish chiefs are going to be very key in this program. And we have now recruited parish chiefs to cover all the parishes. And the qualification of a parish chief is minimum a diploma. So they are literate and able to do,
Even the one with the degree card.
even one with a degree, even a master's.
Just a
Yeah.
minimum.
Just a minimum.
Even with a
Minimum.
PhD, you
Yes.
can.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we are going to give them computer devices where they are going to be inputting data. We are also building what we call a digital dashboard, which is going to be placed here at the center, so that whatever is going to be done is fed into a computer system, and we are able in real time to see what is going on. We can click and say in parish X in this district, there are these many youth. So far of the many youth, these have received this. This number of youth are engaged in this kind of enterprise and so forth. So the monitoring and the reporting is going to be much more intense and much more vigorous than it has been in the past programs. And that also defines what is different between the previous programs and this one. This one is comprehensive. This one will ensure that everybody is included, particularly those in the subsistence livelihoods, and we want everybody involved. The difference is that, like we have said, the local people themselves are managing and running this program.
Yeah.
The difference is that the program being managed by the local people, they know who is an honest beneficiary and who is not, because unlike in the past where the team would be at the district and you are vetting proposals which have come from the villages
And you don't
and you
know
don't
them.
even
You
know
don't
the
know.
applicants.
Correct.
But this time around, you know. Even the person who was asking, how will you know somebody who is in subsistence? You will know.
Yeah.
At a village level, you know so-and-so's family is doing much more poorly than the other one. The other people have a vehicle.
Yeah. And you
The
know what
other-
activities they are engaged
Aha.
in, so it
The
makes
other
it much
family
easier to
has
track. Yeah.
has 5 graduates who are employed in the government, so they're able to maintain the family. This one, the family is not doing very bad, is not doing very well. So
Right.
at that level, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell which family is not doing well and which one is doing much better.
Yeah.
And therefore, the monitoring is going to be much more intense than in the past, to the extent that if somebody beneficiary is misusing or misapplying the resources he has been given, it will be detected early enough
Right.
for remedial action to be taken.
Yeah.
So let's embrace this program. I am one of those who always believe in optimism. Yes, challenges are always there, but they can be surmounted, they can be addressed. Let's not start with that pessimistic picture that